Enzo Maresca has spoken out against the sporting directors at Chelsea Football Club. Is he right to do so? We're going to unpick all of that in this video. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. If you're new, as always, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Please leave your thoughts also in the description. Like this video. Let me know your thoughts about what we're discussing. We're also going to touch on the Cardiff, the quarterfinals of the League Cup, our predicted lineup, who we think should start, and all the rest of that good stuff later in this video. So make sure you tune in for that one as well. But Maresca, very interesting, because Maresca, off the back of a 2-0 win, a convincing win against Everton, Cole Palmer coming back into the team, looking very sharp, looking like his old self again. Maresca had some words. He took a leaf out of Mo Salah's book the weekend before and spoke openly, very, very openly to the press after the Everton game, and basically said that the last 48 hours prior to the Everton game were the worst of his managerial time at Chelsea Football Club. Now, of course, that spun the media into a frenzy. The media want to know a little bit more. Do they mean the fans? Does he mean the players? Does he mean the managers? Does he mean the coaches? Does he mean the sporting director? Who does he mean? Who does Enzo Maresca actually target when he's talking about not being backed and supported? And he said the players weren't being supported as well. Now, he did come out afterwards and say that that was not about the fans. So there was a lot of talk over the weekend about, is he on about the fans? And I'm going to be honest, I'm not against Enzo Maresca talking very openly. I'm not against that at all. I think more managers should actually come out and talk very openly about how they feel. They get criticized. Managers, players get criticized so much through the punditry, through us now as YouTubers, through Twitter, through any forum. They get criticized. Even when you play well, you can be a victim of criticism. It's that simple. So I don't think managers, players should also be exempt from talking up and speaking out. Now, some of the comments that Enzo Maresca said, I feel, again, were very timed. The transfer window opens in less than 3 weeks. We know that Levi Colwill is out for the season with an ACL injury. We know that Tosin, Dizazi, potentially Badia Shil are not good enough. Well, there's no potential. We know they're not good enough to be centre-backs at Chelsea Football Club. So we know we need reinforcements in that defensive line. We know that Raheem Sterling is still on the books. We know that we've got Buonanotte, who's just sitting, I don't know what he's doing, collecting some experience at Cobham. I don't know. But we've got things that don't necessarily align to what Enzo Maresca wants to do with our football club. Now, am I against him talking up? 100% no. Does he need to do it in a different way and articulate himself in a better way and deliver the message to the fans and to the media in a better way? Maybe so. But I'm not against him talking up. I'm not against him talking up. Because in the summer, if you remember, me and millions of other Chelsea fans were crying out for a centre-back, an experienced centre-back. We wanted a goalkeeper, Mike Maignan. I was screaming about Kelleher and how good he is, and Donnarumma and how we're allowing him to go for such a small fee, and Edison leaving to go to Turkey, how he went for a small fee. And I kept saying all these things, and I kept saying we needed a striker. I said so many times, we need a striker at this football club that's going to score 15, 20 goals a season. That's what we need. Now, if Enzo Maresca had those same ideas in the summer, and all you bring in is Liam Delap, you bring in João Pedro, you bring in Buonanotte that I didn't even ask for, and you don't give me that centre-back, but you're expecting me to still deliver on the pitch. And after those comments from Enzo Maresca, I started to think to myself, is this why we're seeing Trevor Chalobah at right back? Is this why we're seeing Reece James in midfield? Is he trying to tell us that I've asked you as the board, as the sporting directors, as the technical directors of this football club, I gave you a list of players that I need. I've told you that we don't have the striker, the profile of striker that I need to succeed at this club. We don't have. So you're going to have me playing Tariq George up front. Is that what he's doing? I don't know. But I do feel that very much like the other media outbursts we've seen with Liverpool, a couple of Liverpool players recently, I feel like there is a reason for Enzo Maresca, 3 weeks before the transfer window opens, he's delivered this message. Now, some Fans are going to say he's wrong for doing that. Some are going to say that he's rightfully expected to be criticised as Chelsea manager. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think he feels he's exempt or immune from criticism. I don't think he thinks that. But what I do think is he's been given a job to do. The players have a job to do. And unfortunately, it looks like Maresca's asked for certain things in the summer, and maybe he's been promised things in this transfer window coming up. And now maybe that suddenly changed from the manager, the sporting directors and the owners' perspective that they actually don't want to do that now, or they didn't want to do it in the summer. And now he's having to tinker the squad. Now, I generally think, I stick to my words, the Atalanta game was a shambles. You can't have two fullbacks in the midfield when you've got midfielders on the bench. I just think that's stupidity. But that's on them. That is on Enzo Maresca. That's what you get criticised as the head coach, as the manager, as the one that's picking the team. That's what you're going to get criticised on in any capacity. But there are certain things that I look at this ownership. I look at the sport, Paul Winstanley. I look at him, and he has to do a lot more. He has to do a lot more. Because I feel like when you go up against the Chelsea owners, it only ends in one way. Look at Maurizio Pochettino, for example. Look at Thomas Tuchel, prime example. It doesn't end well for Chelsea managers when you come out, and especially these owners. These owners are very cutthroat, almost similar to Roman, but I think in a different way. And I feel like if you go against them, your days are numbered. So I feel like he's opened a can of worms by talking openly. Maybe this should have been a conversation at one of those one-to-one review meetings that they have quite regularly as the board and the manager. Maybe you should have left it for that sort of conversation, that sort of audience, and not speak it out into the world where millions of people can dissect and decipher what you mean. Maybe so, but he's done it. He's done it. My worry for Maresca is that if you don't get top four, if you don't win a domestic trophy, if you don't compete for the Premier League, if you don't get to the latter stages of the Champions League, I think your days might be numbered. Because this ownership doesn't take lightly on open criticism. They don't. They actually don't. And if you remember when they first, because let's not forget, this ownership was in Twitter Spaces. When they first took over the club, Todd Bowley himself was in Twitter Spaces, listening to Chelsea fans. They listened to everything that he said about the football club on social media, on YouTube videos, on Monday Night Football, Super Sunday. They listen to everything. They listen to everything. You can tell that. They're tuned in. They're tapped into what the fans think about the football club, as also as ex-pundits or ex-footballers as pundits. They listen to all of that. So I do worry that Enzo Maresca has kind of opened this box over here that he probably didn't need to open. But I'm not against it. I'm not against it because we criticize Maresca for the tinkering, which is right. But at the same time, there could be reasons for why he's having to tinker. There could be reasons. He could have asked, is this his message to the owners? Actually, I don't want Buonanotte. I didn't need Garnacho. But I do need a striker that can score me 15 to 20 goals and can fit into my system. I do need a centre-back that is good with his feet and can play out from the back. That's probably what he's asking for. And you're giving him Dezazi, and you're bringing in Buonanotte, and then you're bringing in Garnacho, and then actually we've already got Gitten, so we'll sign him as well. Are we doing too much here? Are we doing too much? Now, Maresca was asked in the press conference earlier on today about his comments, which was a very strange press conference. If he's watching it live, 12 p.m., you'll know that it cut out after Simon Johnson was about to ask a very, very, very important question, actually, about his relationship with the owners after his comments. And whether it was deliberate, whether it was a mistake, whether it was a technical thing, the stream cut out. The press conference stopped. Apparently it resumed, but it still cut out again. So was there some sort of thing going on behind the scenes that we didn't want, they don't want it to come out into the press? But we're going to play some of the press conference right now.
I respect your opinion and I respect people's opinion, but again, I don't have nothing to add, and my focus is just on tomorrow game, that we can achieve the first semi-final in 18 months since I joined the club. We are in an era where everyone can say what they think. I respect people's opinion. I respect your opinion. But again, I don't have nothing to add. My focus is just on tomorrow. He's doing a great job. They are also top of the league. They are, as you said, playing nice football, winning games, and we need to pay attention. We need to be careful because again, we can achieve something important. That is the third semi-final in 18 months.
It's still a trophy that you still respect it. When you get to Wembley, regardless of who you play, you want to win that trophy. And this is why I say never turn your nose up at a trophy, because if we do get top four and we get the League Cup, yes, it's not been the greatest season at all, but it's silverware and it's a stepping stone and it's a step in the right direction off the back of the Conference League and the Club World Cup. So I want Maresca to take this seriously. I think Maresca has to take this very, very seriously. He has to want to go out there, not tinker the squad, not changing the squad dramatically, not playing Badia Shield with Tosin at the back. Let's focus on what we need to get done. And of course, there's going to be opportunity in this game to rest players, bring players back in, swap players. Big game against, as I said, Newcastle, who off the back of that time where derby are going to be up for it. They're going to want to play us on Saturday and beat us. So we have to make sure we're focused. We have to be focused. Absolutely focused. But Maresca, if there's a game you don't want to tinker and swap and change your squad, it's this game. It's this game. Because I'm telling you from now, Cardiff are going to be relishing the opportunity off the back of the comments made of the inconsistent form before that Everton win. They are going to be up for this. This is going to be a difficult game for us. They've won. They've only lost one game in their last 7. They're doing well. They're doing well. They're currently first in the league, 41 points. They're not messing around. They're not messing around. Now, one thing I will say is as much as they've scored 36 goals this season, they have actually conceded 20 goals. So, and again, let's be honest, they're playing in League One. We're in the Premiership. We're 4th in the Premier League. We should be beating these regardless. I shouldn't be downplaying this fixture that we're going to struggle, but I do think we can. And I do think these are the banana skins. These are the tricky fixtures that when you go into them with the expectation that you're just going to win the game, they always throw you that little extra spanner in the works. And this could be one of those moments. So I really generally think Maresca has to get things correct on the field tomorrow. Put the sort of stupid comments behind, whether you think they're stupid or not, put them to bed. I agree with Maresca there, but we have to focus on this game, get ourselves over the line, and let's just hope we get ourselves one step further to holding that trophy at the end of the season. So let's see how we get on. But let's get into the predicted lineup. Let's get into the predicted lineup that I have gone with for this game. So, predicted lineup time. Now, this is kind of where I got to with the predicted lineup. And I am going to probably change a couple of things in this lineup shortly. But I've gone with Robert Sanchez in goal, who I think personally for me is one of the most consistent goalkeepers we've got. He's actually got the most clean sheets in the Premier League this season so far, alongside David Raya. But I think for me, Robert Sanchez has been outstanding. He's been amazing as a goalkeeper. I think he looks solid when we distributions at the back. Some brilliant saves over the last, couple of games against Leeds, against Atalanta, and even against Everton last weekend. But we have to keep a consistent goalkeeper in there. So I've gone with Robert Sanchez. Now, I've stuck with Malo Gusto. There's a question that you could potentially bring in Josh Ashiempong into the fold, but I want to keep some consistency in the back line, especially the back line. Other areas of the pitch in the midfield and the attack, you can maybe tinker, but our back line has to keep that cohesion and just keep it all together. Just keep regularly playing together, understanding each other. And for me, Gusto had a brilliant game against Everton. He deserves another opportunity in this team. I think this is a moment where you rest Reece James, especially at a right back. But as I said, I would not be surprised to see Josh Ashiempong back in the team. But I've gone with Malo Gusto. I'm going to stick with Wesley Fofana and Trevor Chalobah as the centre-backs. 2 solid centre-backs that we've got, the most important partnership. I have a weird feeling, and this is where I think you've got to make the bold decisions as a manager, Maresca, because I feel like Tosin or Badia Shield are going to feature in tomorrow's game. And I think if they do, when you've got someone like Shelesh or Kellerman or Davies or Ashford who've been playing very, very well for Cardiff this season. As I said, as much as they're scoring goals, they are conceding goals, but they're scoring, I think, 40 odd goals so far this season. 36, goals this season in the league, in League One, top of their league. But I do feel that defensively, you've got to have a strong back line because Amari Kellerman, ex-Chelsea player, coming back, he's going to want to try and grab the headlines. He's going to want to try and prove a point to Chelsea. So I think we need to stick with Chalobah, Fofana. Of course, if you can, maybe you bring in Cucurella to start with and you bring him off in 60 minutes, 70 minutes into the game. Joel Heto can come into there. You could even desperately, if you really wanted to, you don't want to trust Heto, which I wouldn't see why you wouldn't. But if you didn't, Gusto left back, James at right back. That'd be worst case scenario for me. It should be Joel Heto. But I've gone with Marc Cucurella. Now, midfield too, Moises Caicedo, of course, served the final part of his suspension against Everton. I've brought him back into the game. I think he needs minutes ahead of Newcastle, ahead of Aston Villa. I think it would be very, very important to give him about 60 to 70 minutes in this game. You can, again, bring on Reece James. You could bring him into the team. You could maybe, I don't know, bring on Enzo Fernandez, who I've rested for this game. I think he needs a massive rest, Enzo. I think you got to see him against Atalanta. We got to see it against Everton. He didn't seem, he done better against Everton, but he still needs a rest. He absolutely needs a rest because I think he's played a lot of football this season. And I think, again, Caicedo's had that with the suspensions. I think it would be useful to bring Andre Santos into this team, see what he can do in the midfield. So I've gone for those two. Now I've gone with Facundo Buonanotte, who I still, if I'm being 110% honest, I don't know why we've signed him on loan. I don't know. I feel nervous putting him in the team. We know that Cole Palmer's not going to be there. There is a question that maybe Esteval could play in that 10, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know why we brought him. I would like to see him get some minutes tomorrow, but not at the cost of us not winning the game. So let's see what Buonanotte can do. I've put him in a 10 for now. Now I am gonna change things slightly because Esteval for me is to come on and feature from the very start. The last two games, he's come on as a sub. I think he got 10 minutes against Everton, plus stoppage time. It wasn't enough for me. I think Esteval will thrive in a game like this. And why wouldn't he? We're playing 2 divisions down. These are the sort of games where you want to get some confidence back in Esteval. Felt like I'm not saying he played badly in those 10 minutes, but he looked like a player that had sort of lost a little bit of spark, a little bit of that confidence. Maybe because he's not been featuring as much as he probably wants to. And I think if you can get him on the ball in this game, make something happen, grab a goal, get a couple of assists, create some chances for the other attacking players, I think that might bring back some of that confidence that he seems to have neglected a little bit. But I've gone with Esteval on the right. Buonanotte is the 10. I'm going to go with Garnacho because as much as he was painful to watch against Everton, and he had 3, he could have got a hat-trick. I think these sort of games, you could bring maybe Tariq George in here on the left side. You could put Pedro Neto on that left. But again, George has missed so much football. When was the last time Tariq George played for us? So I'm going to go with Garnacho because I feel like some of these players have to get used to playing more than 1 game a week. This whole excuse of certain players can't play more than 1 game a week, let's put that to the test. Let's put Garnacho back in the team. Let's see what he can do. Now, up front, I've gone with Mark Gui, who I think is going to be so crucial for our game. I want to see what he can do. I want to see what he can do because he can't be any worse than João Pedro. We know that Liam Delap's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Bring in Mark Gui. Let him play some football. Again, no disrespect to Cardiff City whatsoever, but these are the sort of games where I'm looking at Mark Gui and I'm thinking, if you can't do it at this level and you're not scoring goals and you're not tucking and you're not putting the ball in the back of the net, there has to be some sort of questions asked about whether it is actually you. Maybe you are the problem. Maybe you're not good enough to beat Chelsea. But this is a game where I'm expecting pretty much all of my lineup to prove why they should be playing. And yes, it's against lesser opposition in Cardiff, but if you can't do it against Cardiff, then yeah, we've got questions to ask. We've got questions to ask. So that's my predicted lineup. That's what I've gone with. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Who's your predicted lineup? What do you think about Enzo Maresca as well? His comments at the weekend just gone against after the Everton match. Do you stand by him? Do you think he's going to war with the owners? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that Linktree link in the description, and we'll be back after the game tomorrow for a match review. Hopefully into the next round of the League Cup. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day.